So what are you fighting for? Getting into this next kind of mission here. Okay, so Adrian says, when you asked, what am I? Yeah, so what are you made of? Instead of who are you, because that's what people are asking a lot of themselves, is like, who am I? Right? And then you go to your past as opposed to what are you? What are you? Like, I'm this, strong sentient being, or whatever you end up coming up with. Like, I'm, what am I? I am someone that is still standing after a lot of challenges in my life, trials and tribulations that I've gone through. What am I? I am someone that that's what I mean. So I am resilient. That is one way that you respond to that. Okay, so what are you fighting for? Self-respect, creative talents, injustice, honor, fairness, family, community, religion, name. So in the previous mission, you admitted what you want. Now, do you feel a strong emotional pull toward what you want? Do you feel so motivated to go on this quest that nothing will stop you, nothing will get in your way? Does it have meaning behind it? Again, the more meaning you have behind something, the more you're giving it a catalyst with fuel to bring it forward. We all have something that we can fight for, just like I'd already unpacked. All of those words: injustice, fairness. So what about you? And again, most of us are acting. A very powerful way to show up in life is to act through our values. Understand what your values are. Family is an important value to me. Fairness is a very important value for me. And it's, when I look back, it's shaped a lot of the ways that I've shown up, sometimes in good ways and other times not in good ways. My oldest daughter, or my middle daughter, Sophie, 100%, she is driven by fairness. I tell the story of how we were standing at a bakery or in a coffee shop, and we were standing at the kind of bakery glass where they have all of the croissants and all the different danishes and things like that in behind it. And we were still standing in line, but we were just a little bit, maybe a step out. And a guy comes in, but the same size as me, and stands in front of us. And Sophie was just a little over 2, and she walked straight up to him and shoved him right in the legs and said, "No butting in line." And I just laughed, and he's looking down at this little pint-sized girl, and he's like, "Oh my God, so sorry." But fairness, you if you want to trigger her, then just do something that isn't fair for everybody. So in the previous, like I said, in the previous mission, you admitted what you want. Now it's about putting some more meaning behind this thing. Is there anything on this list that's worth fighting for you? And then drop a comment in and tell me if any one of these resonates more. And is this an exhaustive list for you? No. There could be more. For me, the name of fighting for the Herman name, because we build up a lot of story and meaning around what it means to be a Herman in our household, is important for us. In David's case, when I was talking about earlier, he's fighting for his self-respect, and he's also fighting for his family, because unless he lives a long and healthy life, he's going to be doing them a disservice as a husband and a father. So those are the things. There you go. Respect and kindness, family. Will, can you unpack what you mean by adding more clarity on that, Will? So again, if you take a look at, I'll unpack this a little bit more for you. When you take a look at that field of play model and that identity model that I talk about, where you got the core self and you have the different layers, anytime you chunk why you're doing something up to something that's larger for yourself, it typically attaches even more resonant emotion, right? Like, when you can be doing things for a selfish reason, and that's fine. I mean, the idea that you can't do something for selfish reasons is silly. Like, that can 100% be someone's motivation. There's no judgment around that. But what adds even more fuel, that's why some athletes can go to the Olympic Games, and now that they're wearing their country's flag on their back, whereas before they were just an individual athlete competing in their sport. But at the moment that they're representing their country, all of a sudden, there's so much more meaning and power and resonance in the way that they're showing up, that they end up having their personal bests at the Olympics. And that's when, people who shouldn't be winning the gold end up winning the gold, or even, placing silver or bronze, or just having the personal best. When you're fighting for your family, that's something that's allows you to do things that are beyond what you thought you could, or you wouldn't have done it if it was just for yourself, right? When you chunk the meaning up to why you're doing something, it untaps way more power. So, great. Okay, so moving forward here. So finding your motivation and core drivers. Motivational drivers are, this is what I was kind of just unpacking. So we have intrinsic motivators that are on the left-hand side here, okay? We have things like growth, curiosity, mastery, adventure, enjoyment, self-mastery, love, exploration, learning. You know, this isn't the exhaustive list of intrinsic motivators. But again, when we start acting from an inside out as to why we're activating the alter ego, then we don't create a trapped self. We create a heroic self because it's your identity that you're creating. That's a heroic identity. Motivational drivers can be someone's trauma, making a right or wrong, you know, sticking it to someone, sticking it to something, you know, can be a powerful motivator, right? To drive action for people. Destiny, I was born for this. Altruism, I want to save the world. Self-expression. The one caveat with altruism, I will say, is, you know, most people try to save the world before they even try to master themselves. Because if you end up showing up in a powerful way for yourself, that can impact your family, which impacts the community, which impacts your, you know, your state or your country, and then impacts the world, right? So, you know, it's that idea of, you know, you can think global, but you act local. Self-expression, I wonder what I can do. That's curiosity. I wonder what I can create. I wonder what I'm made of. Like that idea of, like, I wonder what I'm made of, and I'm going to, you know, bring my best to that. Core drivers then, you know, and that in that field of play model is family, community, nation, religion, race, gender, idea, cause, tribe that you're a part of. Tribe can be something as simple as just your family. Tribe could be, you know, you could consider the tribe as a nation. You can consider a tribe as even, like, you know, the order of police officers or Marines or Navy or nurses or whoever, you know, trying to bring and bring even, you know, more honor to that or something like that. All right. So that's the example of how you find more motivation for why you're going to be showing up the way that you want to show up. So motivation plus those core drivers doesn't equal meaning, but it adds more meaning to why you're doing this. And again, there is a very big reason why we're unpacking all this stuff, which I'll layer onto you right at the very end today. Super important. So finding your why, again, worksheet in the workbook is, you know, why do you want to activate your heroic self? Why do I want this? Why do I want to make my extraordinary role? Why do I want to create an alter ego? Even if you're struggling to get the emotional core and to connect to why you want what you want, then try using the 5 whys technique that we talked about earlier. You know, or what I've shared earlier, the 5 whys was a problem-solving tool invented by Sakichi Toyoda, the founder of Toyota Motor Company in the 1930s. And now it's been, you know, kind of developed even more by this guy, Taiichi Ohno. And, you know, the 5 whys help someone to find and understand the cause of a problem. So it's a relatively simple process and great to help you figure out what's really motivating you. So here's how you would use it. You ask why, and then you keep asking why until you get to the core, to that place of like deep emotional resonance. So why would you want to activate your heroic self? Well, because I'm sick and tired of, you know, playing small. Well, why are you sick and tired of playing small? Well, because it just drains my energy every single day when I show up at home. Well, but why is it draining your energy every single day when you're showing up at home? Because when I show up at home, I know I don't have anything to show for, or I'm excited about sharing about what's happening for us as a family or for me in my profession. Okay, so why is that important for you? Well, because for the longest time, my entire family history has played small. Like there's no one in our family that's somehow gone off and achieved some amazing things. And I love my family and I care about them. They're all good people, but some of them have just gotten trapped by those forces of resistance. Okay, so why is that so important for you to, show up in that way for your family? Well, because I want the, Smith name to mean something. Okay, and when you've hit the kind of sort of oil well gusher of meaning when someone relaxes, for me, when I'm asking the questions, when they relax into go, that's why, because I want to show the world what the Smiths can do, or because I want my kids, I want this family to break the cycle of X, and I'm going to put my family on my back, and I'm going to bring them into the extraordinary world. Like, that could be it, and there's many ways that whole questioning can go. So on and on. That's simply that process of finding your why. So, why would I want to be healthier? Why would someone want to lose weight? Or why does someone want to get on a sales call? Or why does someone want to, be a phenomenal salesperson or entrepreneur or business owner or athlete, basketball player, whatever the case is? You keep on asking yourself that why, and you're going to find it. So, being a fly on the wall of your own life. This is like a self-distancing trick. If you find it hard to answer those questions, try and answer them as an observer or like a fly on the wall. Okay, so here are some questions to be a fly on the wall. Why does Todd want what Todd wants? What is the purpose of Todd's life? What is Todd made of? Why does Todd want to make this his extraordinary world? Why does Todd want to create an alter ego? Again, that third person sort of distancing can give you more latitude now to answer those questions, unencumbered by whatever the paradigms are that you're sort of operating through right now, if that makes sense. So, is your why strong enough? Now, I don't care what your why is. I only care that it's strong enough. So here's a question, or here's a quick test, to determine if your why is strong enough. You feel a strong emotional pull towards it. You're super motivated by your why, that nothing is going to get in the way of it. Your why has deep meaning and significance for you. Those are, now, do you have to have all three? No. And is that an exhaustive, list of a test? No, it's just a quick test. That's why I said it's a quick test. It's not the only test. And, time makes why clear. The more you bring the most powerful version of yourself onto a field of play, the more you're going to discover your why. Because many of us end up getting trapped by what we think we know is going to happen. That's why for me, everything is about pushing you out there, getting you out onto that field of play, pulling you out, cajoling you out there, because it's all of the answers lie in the doing. You end up doing something, if you've never spoken to someone in an elevator before, you have no idea what possibility exists there. Because I've done it hundreds and thousands of times, I know what an amazingly positive interaction that it is. Literally, maybe the worst thing that's ever happened is someone hasn't responded to the question. And nowadays, it could be because they've got AirPods on or something like that. But if that's the worst of it, no one ever, fights you or anything like that because you've asked the question. So again, the more you get out there, the more the why gets clear. If you don't have a clear why right now, don't worry about it. Don't let it stop you. Okay. This isn't about being perfect. It's not about getting it all right. It's not about answering all these questions with pure clarity and pure vision, right? It's just helpful tools to help us add more power to the tool of an alter ego. So at the end of this, now we've gotten to the theme, driving force, and mission. And another way of encapsulating this down to a very, very specific statement is we go back to Bo Jackson, very first story in the book. And when I was unpacking with Bo that whole story, Why did he choose Jason? What was Jason's mission out there on the field of play? And his mission was to destroy anything that got in his way with no emotion whatsoever. So you can think about this when crafting this statement for your mission is there can be a without statement or a with no statement in there. So for him, again, field of play, context matters. He wasn't taking Jason off the field, but what was he battling with? He was battling with anger issues. His anger issues were getting in the way of him unpacking and being a phenomenal football player. He had all the talent and skill in the world to make that happen, but he was taking bad penalties. He was being a little bit uncoachable. All right. So that's why, and for him in the role that he was playing, his job was a running back. Running backs do what? Run over people. Okay. So his mission was to destroy anything that got in his path with no emotion whatsoever. Unemotional, just methodical driving force. That is a powerful little mission statement. So what could that be for you?